Number porting is the process of keeping your existing telephone number, whether you want to change telephone providers, whether you're moving address, for a multitude of reasons. People want to have to change providers. Maybe you want to take advantage of moving from traditional networks to IP networks and running voice over IP. So yeah, that's what number porting is. I handle all the number porting here at Number Group myself, and I just know that it's a very simple process. BT do most of the legwork for us. Essentially, we submit a port request on your behalf, or we require some basic information from you and a letter of authority, just to say, yeah, we're happy for Number Group to port XYZ number and a recent telephone bill, just so we get the contractual information from you, like the bill payer's name and the address, which is generally found on the top of the bill. Timescales, pricing as well. We don't actually make a profit, funnily enough, from number porting, although it does take up a lot of our time. It's more of a value-added service for us. I think for the single numbers we charge £10. I think wholesale it's about £9 plus VAT. So we actually make a loss. And although it takes up probably port a telephone number, anything from a couple of hours to maybe sort of up to 6 or 8 hours of somebody's time to actually port a simple telephone number. But it's more the product. It's more actually being able to offer the service as well. Looking from Number Group's point of view, you probably would want to move to us if you wanted to take advantage of SIP trunking, which ideally sort of gives you makes your numbers virtual, so you can carry them with you anywhere. You can hook them up into desktop soft phones and IP phones and PBXs, and use our own hosted PBX as well to manage your calls. So it gives you sort of the hands-on thing in regards to your telecoms, telephone systems or whatever it is, and disaster recovery, just sort of managing your telecoms and taking advantage of better call rates, so on and so forth. So that's why you would move to Number Group, but essentially you could move from provider to provider for a multitude of reasons. Again, it could be down to cost, it could be the fact that you're moving and your existing provider doesn't provide services there. It could be a number of reasons. A lot of people and a lot of it is based down to cost, and essentially the biggest cost saving when your business is growing, you need more telephone lines, and with traditional telephone lines, you need to order obviously a multitude of single lines, or ISDN 2, ISDN 30, and the cost does tend to sort of build up. Whereas with the IP networks, it's all based on your bandwidth. So if you've got a good broadband connection and an internet connection, you can run as many calls as you want over on a single number or a multitude of different telephone numbers. But what happens is, as your business grows, you become attached to a telephone number on your sign writing, on your business card, so on and so forth. So you can't just sometimes dump the number either, but you also want to take advantage of being able to grow your business without having the sort of big burdens and taking advantage of voice over IP. Try and sort of simplify as best as we can. So you've got different types of telephone numbers. Let's start with the simplest one, which is a single line telephone number. So that's a single line terminating on a socket, generally a PSTN line, of your BT copper lines basically. Again, all we need is a letter of authority from you and a copy of a recent bill. We then go onto the BT Wholesale number porting web portal, and we input your details onto there and submit an order on your behalf. We generally give around 10 days lead time to port a telephone number. On single lines, we get a response within sort of 7 days to say yes, the order's been accepted. And if it has been accepted, we go ahead and build your telephone number as a DID on our platform, which all of our customers got a web portal access, so they can go in and start sort of configuring the telephone number to forward to, whether it's their PBX or sort of alternative phones, whatever. And all this is ready prior to the telephone number being ported. Okay, so there's no downtime from when the calls do begin to hit our network. Essentially, if the order is accepted, so that's quite sort of a smooth process. And then sort of ports are normally activated around midday, and it's normally a smooth process. It's when this calls stop running through your existing provider. They run through BT Wholesale network, which then point the calls to our network. We then deliver the calls to you, wherever you've pre-configured them to be delivered to. And again, obviously, when you access your portal, you can update your chain, you can update your call forwarding and stuff like that, and take advantage of all the other stuff that we do. Next would probably be multi-line telephone numbers. Again, geographic telephone numbers I'm talking about here. Geographic telephone numbers and multi-lines, something like sort of ISDN to ISDN 30 lines, talking about traditional lines, even sort of virtual telephone numbers, DID blocks of DIDs, 100 blocks or 1,000 number blocks. The lead times of them are, again, the process is very similar. We need a telephone bill, we need a letter of authority. It takes around 30 days to port, costs a little bit more than a single line. It's £25 for a block of 100 telephone numbers. And again, the process is very, very similar. It takes a little bit long for BT to come back to us to accept or reject the order. And that's it really. I mean, essentially, just to sort of give you an idea of what the process actually is. Once we submit your details into BT Wholesale then contact BT Openreach. Okay. BT Openreach then contact the losing provider, which will be your current provider, to ask the question. Say, we wish to port we've had a port request in from XYZ customer. Hence the reason why we need the correct details so they can recognise your account and the letter of authority. Then your provider may or may not contact you to ask you the question. If you're still happy to move away and you're happy to put the numbers away, so long as you accept that, they will accept our request, and then we get back to you from our end to say yes, it's all been done and the numbers available in your control panel to pre-configure. And that's it really. Problems occur when we get rejections. Rejections can come for a multitude of reasons. Let's talk about rejections on multi-lines because they seem to be a bit of a minefield. Multi-line rejections, generally, one that sticks out in my head all the time is not having the complete range of telephone numbers. So for example, we have an ISDN 30 with a block of DDIs, but unfortunately, on the form that's submitted into us, you're only maybe quoting one, maybe two telephone numbers. We need to port, in order to port a multi-line telephone number, we need to port all of the telephone numbers, or at least submit an order with all the telephone numbers on there. So, and at that point, we can say, okay, cease, port, or cancel, or retain, cease, or cancel the orders at that moment in time. There's one of the big reasons orders are rejected are based on installation addresses. Now, less so on single lines because they are traditional, lines generally going to an address which is registered against it for 999 emergency. Multi-lines are different because sometimes, people have already moved address once with this current supplier, and how maybe sometimes the calls are forwarding from an exchange, and the installation address changes from the business address and it actually becomes the address of the exchange. So in that case, we need the details of the exchange. So the more details we have in regards to the origin of the telephone numbers, how long you've had them, whether you've ported them in the past, whether you've changed address recently, that all, any information like that always helps in orders being accepted or rejected. Because what can happen is we get a 30-day lead time, and if order's rejected on sort of day 20, then it means we get to give another 30 days lead time with the correct information in regards to, especially like postcodes and sort of stuff like that, which is quite complicated. Okay, then we have geographic single and multi-lines. Very, very simple really. We have a standard number porting form. It's an industry standard form. We send you over a template. It needs to be completed on your company letterhead, and just sort of basic information on there like your current supplier's name and address, your account number with them, the telephone numbers you wish to port, and just your signature really. You email that back into us and we email it off to BT Wholesale, who do the rest of the work. Generally we have a lead time of around 55 days, but normally I'd say around 30 days without any hiccups. Non-geographic numbers, that's 08, 03, so on and so forth, them types of numbers tend to come over. Again, we pre-build the numbers so we configure. Geographic ports are quite funny. Non-geographic ports in that they are normally tested and activated during twilight hours. That's sort of midnight to 4 o'clock in the morning. We're generally given a couple of days notice prior to that happening. So so long as we've got the calls configured or mapped prior to the port date, we shouldn't experience any downtime at all.